Hello everyone. Today we will be studying about the topic of electric potential. This is the fourth chapter of your ISC Physics class 12. So if we have this basic idea of a potential, that is, suppose there is a point A, and at the point A we have a Q, positive charge plus Q. Now because of this positive charge plus Q, there will be a radially outward moving electric field in all directions. It's a point charge plus Q, so in all directions there will be a radially outward moving electric field. Now along this straight line, let us consider another point P where we have a test charge plus Q naught. Now electric potential is defined as the amount of work we have to do in order to bring a charge from infinity to the point. So if I am to find out that what is the electric potential at the point A, that is VA, that is basically nothing but the amount of work that has to be done in order to bring this test charge Q naught from infinity to the point A, that is from infinity to the point A, divided by what is the magnitude of the test charge. The magnitude of the test charge in this case is Q naught. So basically therefore the electric potential is work done divided by the charge. And since the unit of work done is joule and the unit of charge is coulomb, the unit of electric potential is joule per coulomb. And 1 joule per coulomb is defined as 1 volt. So what is 1 volt, or how do we define 1 volt? The electric potential at a point or between 2 points is said to be 1 volt. If the amount of work we have to do in order to transfer a charge from that point to the other is 1 joule, and we have to remember that the magnitude of the charge will be 1 coulomb. So that is how we define 1 volt. Now that was the qualitative idea about the potential. Let us now get an idea in terms of an expression, that's a quantitative one. So let this be a point O at which we have this test charge plus Q. Let this be a point P, and let these 2 points be A and B. So Q is our charge which is producing the electric field. It's located at the point A, and then we have got these points P, A and B. The distance between the point O and the point P is R, and the distance between point O and point B is x, and AB, this distance, this small distance, is dx. So our test charge plus Q naught is, say, initially at B. Now as I said, since this is a positive unit positive charge, not unit, in this case it has a magnitude of Q, so there will be a radially outward electric field. So obviously there is also going to be an electric field in the direction B, and since there is an electric field means the charge is gonna feel a force F, so it will feel a force. The electric field is force by Q, so it's gonna feel a force. Now what is the force that it is going to feel? What is the force that Q naught is going to feel due to Q? Obviously since both of them are positive charges, this is going to be a force of repulsion. The force is going to be 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught Q naught divided by the distance between them, which is x, the distance squared. So this is the force which Q naught is going to feel due to Q, because Q is going to repel the unit positive charge. Now even after this repulsion, if we want to move the charge Q naught from the point B to the point A, what we have to do is we have to do some work against this repulsive force. So there is a repulsive force and we have to do some work against the repulsive force. And if we move a distance dx, then the work that we are going to do is F dot dx. But since the displacement is opposite to the direction of force is in this direction, displacement is in this direction, so F dot dx is F dx cos theta, and here theta is 180 degrees, so this becomes minus f dx. So the work done is minus 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q naught by x squared dx. This is the work we have to do in order to move the test charge from the point B to the point A, that is in order to cause a small or an infinitesimal displacement between the point B to the point A. Now if we are to find out that what is the total work that has to be done in order to carry this charge from infinity to the point P, that is we are finding out the potential at the point P, then we have to find out the total work, and the total work is going to be an integration from infinity to the distance r, and the integration is going to be over this quantity 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q naught dx by x square. So this entire thing is going to come outside the integral. It will be minus q naught by 4 pi epsilon naught outside. What we will be integrating is from infinity to r x to the power minus 2 dx. Using the formula for integration, this is going to be n plus 1 by n plus 1, that's x to the power minus 1 by minus 1, so this becomes plus, and here we have a 1 by x with limits from infinity to r. So that's basically 1 by r minus 1 by infinity. This thing is basically 1 by r minus 1 by infinity. This we can treat to be 0. So that's 1 by r. So basically we get q naught by 4 pi epsilon naught r. Or if we write, this is the expression for work done. And then what is the expression for the potential? The expression for potential was work done divided by the test charge. So the expression for potential becomes 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught q divided by r. This is the expression for the potential, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q divided by r. The unit is volt. So in force, it was q1 q2 by r square. So there was another extra q dash by r term which is missing when it comes to potential. So that is an expression to find that what is the potential at a distance r away due to a charge q when we are bringing in some charge q naught, some test charge q naught. Now what is important to note here, there's an important point. One might think that this expression will hold only if the test charge which we are moving in from infinity has a magnitude 1 coulomb. But that's not true. Whatever be the value of q naught, since we are doing w by q naught, that is going to get cancelled all the time. So it is only going to depend upon the source charge q here, and it is going to depend upon at what distance we are calculating the electric potential at. This potential that we just defined right now is a scalar quantity, and another thing that we have to remember is that when we wrote this expression for potential 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r, this expression, it depends upon that what is the algebraic sign of the charge. If instead of a positive charge we have a negative charge, then here we will be putting minus q, or the whole expression will become minus 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q by r. This is something we have to remember. It depends upon what kind of charge it is. And if we have a group of charges, say suppose there is a charge plus q1 here, a charge minus q2 here, a charge plus q3 here, and I am asked to find out the potential at some point P due to these three charges. My first job will be to calculate at what distances they are from P. So say this distance is r1, this is r2, and this is r3. Then the total potential at P, is going to be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 by R1 plus Q3 by R3 minus, because this is the negative charge, Q2 by R2. Now this expression that I showed, the example that I gave, it is valid for 3 charges, because I in my example took 3 charges. But if I have more than 3 charges, say if I have n number of charges, it would be equally valid. So in that case the total potential would become 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught sum over I from 1 to n Qi divided by Ri. So that is the summation. But this again, as we said, this holds for a group of charges, and it is not necessary that the group of charges will be distributed discretely like this. The charges may be in the form of a continuous distribution, as we have studied in the chapters of electric field and Gauss's law as well. The charges need not always be discrete. It can be a continuous charge distribution. So if it's a continuous charge distribution, then we can write down this expression as 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught, and say we cannot distinguish between the separate charges. It will become integration over dq by r, where dq is the small elemental charge. If the charge is distributed over a surface, then the expression for electric potential becomes 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught sigma dA by r, where sigma is equal to dq by dA. So that is basically the surface charge density, the amount of charge dq in an area dA. So dq is sigma dA, and that is what we substitute here, and this will be integrated over the entire area. Similarly, potential due to a volume charge distribution will be equal to rho dV by r, where rho is the charge dq in a volume dV. So that is once again the expressions for the continuous charge distribution. So this is a discrete charge distribution, this is a continuous charge distribution which is linearly distributed, this is a continuous charge distribution distributed over an area, and this is distributed over a volume. And that is how we can find out the potentials for all these 3 different cases. Now we shall move into something which is very important, and that is we will be trying to find out what is the potential due to an electric dipole. So as you know, dipole means 2 equal and opposite charges which are placed a very short distance apart, minus q plus q. And say this is the point P at which we are going to find out what is the potential due to this dipole. Now from the midpoint of the dipole, the distance to P be r, let that be r, and these distances, these are L. So therefore the plus q charge is at a distance r minus L, and the minus q charge is at a distance of r plus L. So the potential that is going to be because of the positive charge. So let me name these points, name the locations of the minus q and the plus q's. So let me name the location of minus q to be A and plus q to be B. Then the potential V1 is going to be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught plus q divided by r minus L, and the potential V2 is going to be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught minus q divided by r plus L. Now what will be the total potential therefore? The resultant potential at P due to the sum of these two, as we studied, it is going to be the algebraic sum of these two expressions. So 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught common, it becomes q by r minus L minus q by r plus L. So we can take that q outside. This is what we get, q times 2l divided by 4 pi epsilon naught times 1 minus l square by r square times r square. Now what is this 2ql? We have seen this before as well, that 2 into q into l, this is the dipole moment. So this entire thing can be written as the dipole moment divided by 4 pi epsilon naught times this expression 1 minus l square by r square times r square. Now if it so happens that this point P is so far away from the dipole that the length L is much smaller than r. So in that case, L square by r square, this quantity is negligible and we can simply neglect it. So this term will then become 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught P divided by r square. So this is the electric potential due to a dipole, 1 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught P by r square, and this particular orientation of the dipole is known as the equatorial orientation, or basically we are trying to find out that what is the potential on some equatorial point along the axis of the dipole. In the next one we will be discussing about point lying on the equatorial line. This was the case of the axial line, and we will be discussing the equatorial one in the next one. Thank you.